I just did some changes on my 2030 forecast for Tesla stock and it's still looking pretty nice. As you guys already know, I'm going all in into Tesla stock because I do believe it's the best long-term hold. Generally, I do believe Tesla stock or Tesla itself is going to become the world's most valued company based on their full self-driving, robo-taxis, energy, and all that good stuff. And what's really crazy about this change is that even though I brought the margins down, the vehicles even lower year over year, everything, pretty much I brought everything lower just to bring my expectation even lower, the stock looks flippin' promising. Here I'm going to show you guys two charts, one without the FSD and the licensing, but we're not even going to add the robo-taxi or insurance in here because that's just a whole new level, nor the bot or anything. It's just going to be pure FSD and licensing, addition to the energy and vehicles, and the other chart is just going to be vehicles and energy. So if you guys are ready, man, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, man. Let's go. So here's a stock price prediction chart with vehicles and energy only. We'll do this one first and then we'll look at the FSD licensing and when FSD gets solved because that is a sheesh freaking chart. And if you guys want access to this chart, you guys can check out the Patreon here, supporter level and above. You guys can mindle it, play around with the numbers, see what you guys think, what the stock price could be and the valuation and all that good stuff. Everything here is with formulas. So all you need to do is just put the vehicle deliveries here, change the gross profits, and it's just very customizable and very easy to use. And yes, I made it very easy for you guys to use it up on my Patreon. So let's talk about vehicle deliveries first. In 2023, which is this year, I do believe they're going to do a little bit over 1.8 million vehicles. In 2024, however, yes, we were expecting about 2.5 million deliveries, but because Elon said that 50% CAGR rate is no longer going to happen because of the delay in Gigafactory Mexico, and with high interest rates and all that uncertainty is happening, obviously Tesla at the moment, 90% of their entire profits and revenue is coming from vehicles, and we all know vehicles is cyclical. And right now, we are in that bad cyclical phase for vehicles.
But Pejjy, man, I thought you said Tesla's not a car company, man. You know, what is this? You're talking about vehicles and all that kind of stuff.
Relax. We'll get there. And yes, Tesla is not a car company in 5-6 years time. All right, let's get down to the vehicles. For 2024, I put 2.25 million deliveries. I do believe it's going to be somewhere between 2.2 and 2.3 million deliveries. But in 2025, I do expect a big bump to almost 3.2 million vehicles. And I count that as like the Cybertruck ramping, the Model Y and 3 going crazy, Berlin, Texas are reaching new levels. Maybe, hopefully the compact car comes out then. That's what I'm betting on for 2025. And then 2026, 2027, 2028 are all 35% growth, 2029 and 2030 about 30% growth. Overall 13 million deliveries in 2030.
No, Pejjy, man, Tesla's gonna do 20 million by 2030.
2032 is where my money is at when Tesla doing 20 million vehicle deliveries, not 2030. But as you guys just saw, as soon as I put the vehicle deliveries in, everything came out automatically because again, it's all formulas. And again, you guys can check it out on Patreon, supporter level and above to gain access to it. Then we got average selling price for Tesla. For 2023, it's gonna be around 43,500, maybe a bit lower if you do more price cuts in Q4. So far, they've increased some, they reduced some. So it's a little bit, I would say it's still in the Q3 phase. They haven't done any major price cuts yet, at least. So we're going to keep it at 43.5. 44 in 2024 because of the Cybertruck, 45 strictly because of the Cybertruck, and then 44, 40, 38, 36, 34 because we know the compact car is going to come out. That's going to bring the average selling price lower. Credits for 2024, I put it higher for 2023 because I do think they would need to sell more credits to increase their cash. I mean, as you guys can see, vehicle gross profits for 2024, 17.5 still, and that's if they stop doing price cuts. I mean, I know cost of per each vehicle is going down, but nonetheless, price cuts take the margins down substantially, like a lot. 2025, 1.45, and then 1.4, 1.3, 1.1, 900, and 650 million. Because as we keep going into the future, more and more car companies will have to switch to EVs, and so credits. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have to if they want to survive, right? So eventually, everyone's going to stop getting credits because most people will be making EVs. I mean, unlike if you're GM, if you're trying to make by 2035, I'm sure the credits will probably be by the billions by 2030. But nonetheless, that's what I think for credit. Services is growing very nicely, as you guys can see, the profits as well. Leasing, it stops in 2025 in terms of bottoming, and then I do expect interest rates to go down nicely in 2026 and onwards keeps going higher to 2030. I do think this number is going to be more aggressive if interest rates keep going lower, but keeping it conservative, that's what I think, as well as around 40% profit margin for Tesla here, which is absolutely nuts. Crazy. Then we get the vehicle revenue, and then we've got the vehicle gross profit. 17% for 2023, could be as low as 16.8 for the entire year. Just gotta wait and see, but rounding it up to 17%. 17.5% to 2024, before it was 18.5. 2025, about 19%. This was around 22.5. And then 20%, 21, 22, 23, 24. In my previous Tesla valuation to 2030, I put a gross profit here of 29%, and that was purely the compact car. But I'm going to bring it down a little bit, bring down the notch a little bit and say 24% just to stay, more cautious and bring my expectations even lower. Then we get the vehicle profits here, as well as a total energy. This year, I thought they're going to do around 8 billion in revenue in terms of energy, but looks like they're going to do just below 6.5 billion. But profits extended my expectation. In Q3, it was over $380 million in profits. That would give it a 24% margin. Absolutely insane for energy. So I do expect this number, we're only 1 quarter away, so it's a matter of time. I'm either going to be 5 or 10% lower this number here for energy. Over 2024, I brought it down instead of 15,000 to 10,000, then 15,000, then 22,000, then almost 34,000, 50, and all the way to 2030, just below $100 billion in revenue just in energy. I'm sure this number is going to be a whole lot more. But again, keeping things conservative at a 18% margin. Keeping it conservative again, they're saying about 20 to 22%. I'm going to say 18%, over $16.5 billion in profits. That's absolutely crazy. Operating cost increases as we go, but I'll continue to update this as we keep going forward, as the quarters keep coming. Same thing with taxes. I do think taxes will continue to be even higher because profits will be a whole lot higher. For crying out loud, 30 non-GAAP. Over $100 billion just with vehicles and cars alone. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. But look at the operating margin. That's what I want to go through. Is everyone has their eyes on the operating margin when it comes to Tesla. By end of 2023, if they have all these numbers, then we can see an operating margin of 9.2%. Now, if they do price cuts, this could be well below 9%. And that's not going to look good at all. But nonetheless, for 2024, about 10.2%. 2025, 13%, 15%, 16.7%, 18%, 19%, and 20% by 2030. Before it was around like 24%. That brought it down to around just below 21%. Now here's the interesting part, the net income non-GAAP. It looks like if they do these numbers, Tesla's gonna be having just over 8 billion this year, which compared to last year, it was around like 12.5 billion. So this is not really going to look good on Wall Street. And if they even recover by 2024, they don't even recover in 2024, but in 2025, they almost double in 2024. And in 2026, they 50%, and then just below 50%, and so on and so forth, up until just almost 110 billion in net profits. In non-GAAP at least, which is absolutely insane. For shares outstanding, I continue to dilute it, even though I do think around 2026, 2027, I do expect some sort of a buyback from Tesla, but if they don't, I do expect dilution, and these are the numbers that I got. EPS here, it looks like if 2024 comes into play, we get just a bit higher than 2022's, which that was their all-time high in terms of profits. Not in revenue, in profits, but for 2023, it looks like we're looking around the $2.70 mark. Even Wall Street is thinking around there. So that's a big sheesh moment. But you know what else is a big sheesh moment? The stock prices, and I think that's why you guys are here. If you guys are ready, man, let's see what the stock price would be with the energy and vehicles alone. Smash that like button. And why isn't that like button smashed? Come on. At the recording of this video, Tesla stock is below $220 per share. So for that, to maintain that price by end of Q4, which will be the whole fiscal year of 2023, we will need a PE of 78 to maintain a price target or a stock price of $216. Now, if the market doesn't have confidence in Tesla and they're like,
no man, Tesla's just a car company, Mars is going to keep going lower and Toyota's going to win the race. Simple as that.
Then, and if the sentiment is really bad, like if everyone's panicking, we could probably see a PE going down at 65, maybe as down as 60. If it gets really bad out there, PE of 50, around the 138 to 140. Again, I'm not into technicals, but I'm just weighing out the options of what could happen. But if Wall Street is forward-looking and saying, okay, you know what? 2024 is looking good. Elon is not over-promising. They look like they're going to over-deliver. We're happy with giving it a higher multiple. And that's if interest rates go lower. That's more confidence for vehicles and the cyclical for the for the auto industry, all that kind of good stuff. I could honestly see a PE of 100 going as high as 365. But my price target for 2024 is 350. I'm going to stick with it. That's a PE of like 96 with all these numbers if it becomes true. By the way, my price target for 2023 was 260, which that would be a PE of 93 or 94 if that becomes true. Which, by the way, we were in 260. We hit 260 like 12 times this year, which is absolutely insane. So I'm going to keep it as that at 260 as my price target for 2023 and 2024 of 350. For 2025, I'm going to give it a PE of 60, and that will give a stock price of $385 per share and a market cap over $1.2 trillion. So guys, get this out. If we want to return back to the all-time high, which was around like $410 per share, we would need a PE of 65 for 2025 if they do 22.5 billion in net income non-GAAP in 2025. So let's see if that will happen or not, but I'm going to keep it a PE of 65 because I like to stay conservative. In 2026, going to give it a PE of 55, get a stock price of 528, and a market cap of over 1.7 trillion. 2027, a PE of 50, and we get a stock price of 641, market cap of over 2 trillion. In 2028, a PE of 45, that's a stock price of $808 per share, and a market cap over $2.6 trillion. Now, around this time, I would expect Tesla to do their third stock split. In 2029, a PE of 40, we get a stock price just below $1,000 per share and a market cap over $3.1 trillion. By 2030, with a PE of 35, we get a stock price over $1,100 per share and a market cap just below $3.6 trillion. Now, if Tesla is purely just a car company and an energy company, and they're doing these numbers, I don't think a 35 PE would be feasible for Tesla at that time, even though they have 21% margin. Maybe around a 30 PE makes sense around that time with a stock price of just 950 or about 1,000 and a market cap of just a little bit over 3 trillion. I think if we're looking at Tesla as a car company and a little bit of an energy company, then yeah, I do see this happening. But guys, we all know that Tesla's not a car company. We know that FSD and their licensing is gonna come and take everything by a storm. If you guys are ready to see that stock price, smash that like button. It's gonna get real juicy. Here is the chart with the FSD global revenue and the FSD licensing revenue. As you guys can see, I'm expecting if Tesla goes and they figure it out, and they're saying by end of 2024, then 2025, with a snap of a finger, they can enable FSD on any Teslas all around the world because all it needs is just one over-the-air update. This is one of the reasons why I'm all into Tesla stock. The FSD. This is gonna bring Tesla and bring it to multiple of trillions of dollars. I mean, we saw the vehicle and the energy could bring it up to a maximum of 3 trillion, but you're going to see how high this thing can go. So by 2025, with the amount of vehicles that they sold this year, and prior to that, all the way till 20, I don't know, whenever they bought the Model S, I believe that was around the 2010s, 2011s, I guesstimate that only 50% of them will opt in for FSD for the monthly of $200, and that's a lot of flipping cars. If you guys want to see that video how I broke that down, check the video over here. But with that amount of vehicles on the road and 50% of them opting in, that's about over $7.7 billion in revenue the first year. The first year they make $7.7 billion in revenue. That's crazy. And in profits, because it's 80%, well, here I put around 40% just to stay conservative. It is software as a service, so it is high as 80%, but I put that as half of 40%. That's over $3 billion in profits just in 1 year. That's insane. And so on to 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030. By 2030, $41 billion of revenue and over $26 billion in profits. That's insane. Now, for FSD licensing, this is when Tesla's going to license out their FSD to other automakers, and that's a bigger business than the FSD global profits and revenue. It's absolutely insane. And you guys, yes, I broke that video down too. Check the video over here. I said here by 2027, around 12.5 billion in revenue and almost 10 billion in profits. And again, this is purely 80% because this is just you're giving away software. It should be 100% profit, but 80% profit here. And then 2028, almost $23 billion in revenue, and then 18 billion in flipping revenue profits. It's crazy. In 2029, over 51 billion, and in profits over 41 billion. And by 2030, FSD revenue almost $88 billion and a profit of over 70 billion. That's crazy. And guys, we haven't even added robotaxi here or the insurance. or the other things that Tesla has, like the bot and stuff, which again, I have that in a separate video. You guys can check it out here. I made a lot of videos on these things. You guys can check it out there. But this is insane. Look at the operating margin in 2030, over 30%, because we added the FSD licensing and revenue. Without these, it was just below 21%. This is 30.5%, absolutely insane. Look at the profits. Look at the revenue, over $700 billion in revenue, and profits over 200 billion, literally doubling it. That's insane. And here are the stock prices, man. The same way of PE. Look at that stock price of $2,000 per share, and a market cap over $6.7 trillion, more than double than the vehicle and energy one we just saw, the previous chart. Now, if Tesla's doing this and they're growing FSD and they have the, FSD Global and the licensing, which is high margins, 35 PE does not make sense. 45 PE would make more sense, and that's around $8.6 billion. Or even maybe a 40 PE. Some people will go as high as saying a 50 PE would make sense. A solid and stable multiple or PE for Tesla by 2030 if these numbers come true. And that is a 9.5 trillion market cap. Pretty much almost a 10 trillion market cap. 10xing as, well, now it's more. If it's 600 billion or 700 billion, that's like a 12, 4, 13x. Which is absolutely insane. And this is why, guys, I'm going all into Tesla stock. It's a no-brainer. But it's a long-term hold. You're not going to get rich, as we saw in 2024, 2025. We don't even seem like that we're going to get back to the all-time highs. Maybe if FSA global revenue comes into play by 2025, yes, we can probably see it go over that with a 60 PE. But keeping things to the worst, it looks like we're not going to reach the all-time high up until 2025. Who knows? I may be wrong. This is all a prediction and a prediction alone. So take all this with a grain of salt and do your DD. Just take a moment, step back, and just think about what would Tesla look like in 2030? How would life look like in 2030? Are we able to get into a robotaxi and go to places? Is my car be able to take me places safely than I could ever drive? These are the right questions you need to ask yourself now till then. Because if the answers are yes, guess who benefits the most? That's right, Tesla. But this was more of a realistic point of view, looking at it, what the stock price could be without FSD and with FSD. I made a video here, another 2030 stock price prediction with, robotaxis and bots and insurance, and the list keeps going on and on. Check it out. It's absolutely insane. Again, not financial advice, but it's for your entertainment, and the numbers are crazy. That's all I gotta say. It's flipping crazy. So check it out. You won't be disappointed. And guys, get your I Bought the Dip t-shirt. I'm wearing one right now. If you guys bought the dip, you need this shirt. And subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.